Hi, I'm Derek Mooney.
I'm Terry Garvey.
And this is Read Right Now.
This week we're in Kilkenny. We're looking at intelligence and ability and exploring the different forms it takes.
We'll be examining the traditional IQ test and what it actually measures.
And we'll be looking at the newer concept of multiple intelligence, which is a broader view of ability. And we'll also be considering how what's known as your social and emotional intelligence can help you succeed in life and help you learn better.
And mood, stress and perseverance, they all play a big role in how well you learn. We'll cover all of these areas this week.
And we'll be giving you tips on writing an informal letter or a note, on reading a plan, using a dictionary and looking at 2- and 3-dimensional shapes. Now I'm going to stay at the castle.
And I'm going to have a look around the Kilkenny Craft Centre. To get the most out of Read Right Now, you should get yourself a copy of the free Read Right Now workbook. All you have to do is pick up the phone and dial 1800 20 20 65. It's got worksheets and activities to practice, as well as lots more tips and advice.
People often think of intelligence as being the ability to get on well in school or to be good at exams. But when you think about it, that's simply a measure of academic success and not much more. During the First World War, psychologists used tests which became known as IQ tests. They have led over time to the development of a sort of an IQ way of thinking, which is that you're either born clever or not, and that there's very little you can do about it. But the fact is that a high IQ is no guarantee of success in life or happiness.
We now recognise that IQ doesn't measure true ability because it's far too narrow. It doesn't measure people skills, word skills, visual skills, or for that matter, manual ability. It's a one-dimensional view of intelligence. And as we know, intelligence has many dimensions. Take this handcrafted silver chess set. We can only fully appreciate it when we see it in its 3-dimensional form, even though it came from this 2-dimensional drawing.
Look at this square. It has 2 dimensions, one dimension for width and another for length. We call it a 2-dimensional or 2D shape. Other examples of 2D shapes include triangles, rectangles and circles. Now look at this box. Like the square, it has dimensions for width and length, but it also has an extra 3rd dimension, one for height. So we say the box is 3-dimensional or a 3D shape. Other examples of 3D shapes are spheres, cylinders, cones. A sphere is an unusual 3D shape because it only has one side. If we cut down the middle, however, we can see that where we have cut forms a circle. Have a look next time you're cutting an orange. Imagine you're redecorating a room in your house and need to buy a new carpet and a cupboard. To buy the carpet, you only need to know the length and the width needed, so it can be thought of as a 2D shape. To buy the cupboard, however, you need to know 3 dimensions: its width, its length, and its height. If it's too high, it won't get through the door, so it can be thought of as a 3D shape. For more examples of these shapes, check out the Read Right Now workbook. If you follow the IQ way of thinking, then some people are more clever than others. But what if people are just clever in different ways? What if instead of one intelligence, there are many? Well, this is the theory of multiple intelligence. This theory says it's not how smart you are, but how you are smart. We all have a range of abilities: language ability, musical ability, physical ability, social ability, and self-knowledge, to name a few. Sean Glasheen grew up in a system which believed in the IQ definition of intelligence. He's now at university doing a degree, but he never had any faith in his abilities.
My earliest expectations, my father being a teacher, was that school was a great place to go to, and had tremendous expectations going. Even before I went to school, my father used to have a little classroom at home and with a board on the wall, and he used to do grinds at that stage. Sometimes I was allowed in to the classroom with the lads, and I couldn't look forward enough to when I was going to go to school.
After spending 14 years at school, I achieved a leaving certificate and a lack of ability to read on leaving school. I always wanted to read. I had a great desire to read, but for some reason I couldn't, and I realise now that I don't process linguistically or in language, that I process in pictures and concepts. That'll do you, that's much better. When I left school first, I went to the High School of Commerce, and I learned bookkeeping and typing. After that I went to Irish Cement, started a job in the General Office, Wages Office. Did quite well there, concealed my literacy difficulties there, suffered tremendous fears that I'd be found out. Felt that I was a fraud inside there because if they knew that I couldn't read, they'd be there'd be hell to pay.
I just couldn't live with it. It got worse and worse and worse. The strain was worse, and as I started to move up the line, it became a bigger problem.
In any group of people, you'll find multiple and varied abilities. For example, take this statue here in front of me. She's a character. Her name is Mary. She's very musical, and she's got a great ability to appreciate rhythm and pitch. She's also got strong word and language skills, and she's very sensitive to the sound, meaning, and rhythm of words. Now, this guy here is called Sam. He's a nature lover. He can identify and categorize a whole range of species of plants and animals. And he's good at thinking of concepts in his head. But when it comes to playing sport, he's just not in the game.
Different artists, very different abilities. And we can all harness our different abilities to help us to learn. We need to let go of the idea that there's one right way to learn. If you've got spatial ability, then you probably remember things visually. Posters, charts, graphics, they work well for you. If you've a lot of musical ability, then you probably like the rhythm and sound of words. So songs, poems, rhymes would work for you. Like the rhyme, spelling rhyme, I before E, except after C.
Now, it's certainly not essential for our lives to have all of these various types of intelligence at our fingertips, but there are two that are important for all of us to have, and these are social and emotional. They're intelligence about ourselves and others. And later in the programme, we'll be looking at how these two core intelligences affect our lives. Now, I was supposed to meet Terry Garvey here, but she's not here, so I think I'll write her a note.
Here are some hints on writing an informal note or letter. The most important point is to get your message across simply and clearly. So we often cut short the sentences and get straight to the point. It's really a case of keeping it simple. You can start with a short greeting. For example,
Hi, Terry.
Then get straight to the point with brief, accurate information.
Sorry I missed you earlier. I'm going to have a look around the craft centre, but I'll meet you in the Castle Gallery at 6 p.m.
And then finish with a brief sign-off.
All the best, Derek.
There are no strict rules to writing an informal note or letter. You can start with Hello Tom, or just simply Tom. Likewise, you can change the endings. See you there, Anne, or Thanks, John. So if you're writing an informal note, concentrate less on spelling, punctuation and handwriting, and more on getting your message across.
There are several types of intelligence, but school exams tend to measure only one. Some people think they're bad at maths, yet can calculate the odds on a horse better than any maths teacher. Others think they're bad at English, but they can spin a yarn in a pub that's better crafted than any essay. The kind of intelligence that school exams measure is a very narrow kind of intelligence that doesn't guarantee you will behave intelligently in the world. So forget any preconceptions you have about how intelligent you are or what your capacity to learn is. You have an enormous capacity to learn. And one of the key elements of learning is active learning. Learning's about joining up what you know already with what's new. The more you join up, the more new skills and information you'll learn. In the end, the more you learn, the more you can learn.
As we've seen, there are two kinds of intelligence that it's very important for us to have: social intelligence and emotional intelligence. But what are they? Well, let's talk about social intelligence. Broadly speaking, it's your ability to understand other people, to see what motivates them, what drives them.
And then in the evening also they would entertain playing the pianoforte, or if...
Salespeople, politicians, tour guides like John here, they need to have this ability. Your social intelligence is really your ability to communicate with other people and to understand how they feel.
One of the most important things in emotional intelligence is our ability to be self-aware and control our own moods. Now, what that really means is that when you know yourself well, you should be able to recognize those emotions and deal with them, a factor that's very important when it comes to learning. Because when you have a positive outlook in life and when you recognize those emotions but don't let them take over, your ability to achieve things will be greatly increased.
You'll find lots more tips and activities in the new Read Write Now workbook. Just phone free on 1800 20 20 65 to get your copy.